We are a group of students from Mount Vernon Nazarene University, and we are in a class called U2, where we're talking about the Me Too movement and Title IX. And we're going to do a presentation on Title IX, what it is, how it's implemented, and what it looks like here at MVNU. So, first, we want to talk about what Title IX actually requires universities to do to prevent sexual harassment or violence. The first thing is to explicitly prohibit sexual harassment. So it should be explicitly stated, it should be well known, sexual harassment among students is not allowed. Next, the universities are required to have a Title IX coordinator. This is a person who reports of sexual harassment will go to, and they decide what to do with the reports, and they also create the procedures that they are required to create for if harassment happens.
Schools are required to do multiple things to respond to allegations of sexual harassment or violence. The first thing that schools must do is actually respond to the issues that happen at campus-sponsored events with their students, whether they're on or off campus, at a campus-sponsored event or not. So universities have to promptly investigate possible sexual harassment, even if the law enforcement must also investigate. They must report to law enforcement if criminal activity has occurred, and victims can sue schools and organizations if they are deliberately indifferent to their complaint. So schools have to respond even if the law is already involved.
So next we want to talk about whether or not our policies here at MVNU are comprehensive, thoughtful, and practical. So first we want to talk about if our campus community members are aware of the policies and procedures, and if those policies and procedures are communicated effectively. We think they are somewhat. There are some good things that are happening, but there are quite a few ways that they could be improved.
The first issue that we think could be improved is addressing menstrual issues that females on campus deal with, such as leaving rooms during exams for feminine hygiene or missing class for symptoms of menstruation. A lot of professors have policies that you are not allowed to leave the room during an exam, which is understandable, but when a woman has menstrual issues in the middle of an exam and has to leave to take care of that, and they are not allowed to finish their exam because of this policy, their grades can be drastically affected. Also, missing class for symptoms can be cumbersome as well because a lot of professors require excuses from doctors or nurses in order for those absences to be excused. But for menstruation issues, to see a doctor or a nurse is a little bit cumbersome.
We also have some ideas on how our school can increase the campus's awareness of sexual harassment and violence and Title IX. The first of which is clarity with our school's Title IX page on the website. If you go to mvnu.edu and click on the Title IX link, you'll get the Title IX page, which at first glance appears to be a bunch of hyperlinks to what should be definitions. Clicking on any of those hyperlinks, though, will just open you up in another instance of the Title IX page in another tab. To get to the actual definitions, you have to scroll down further on the page to where a box literally says definitions. And there you'll find the whole assortment of them. Another idea we had is to have additional events. For instance, the University of Mary Washington has events throughout the school year solely focused around Title IX. They concentrate them in 3 months. Stalking Awareness Month, which is January, Sexual Assault Awareness Month, which is April, and Dating Violence Awareness Month, which is in October. They have dozens of events during each of these months, along with other events thrown throughout the year. A third idea we had is to have posted examples around campus. So like the UN has a long, hefty document of just examples of sexual harassment. While the entire thing may be a bit cumbersome to post in any one location. Throwing a page here or there may increase the campus's awareness. And a fourth idea we had are refreshers. As Kellyanne mentioned, we are given almost a morning long course on Title IX at the beginning of our freshman year and almost nothing after that. So just some refreshers of what Title IX is, what it covers throughout the 4 years, 5 years that we spend here could be beneficial.
All right, so the next question is, what can MVNU do? There have been several successful training options that have been used on other college campuses that have proved to be effective, one of which is Green Dot Training. Green Dot Training focuses on promoting bystander intervention and training bystanders. And it's unique because it trains men and women together, which has proved to be highly successful and very different from any other sort of sexual harassment training. The perpetration of stalking and sexual harassment is lower for men who have attended Green Dot Training, so it's proved to be very effective. There's also situational training, which has been implemented on at least one college campus and has proved to be highly successful. This training focuses on training potential victims, so mainly women, but it teaches the victim how to assess, acknowledge, and potentially rebuff sexual advances if necessary. It's proved to be highly successful because it reduces the chances of being raped by 50%, but it can be controversial because it places the responsibility on the victim instead of on the perpetrator. MVNU could also continue the conversation past freshman year because right now it seems like much of the training is concentrated on the incoming freshman class instead of continuing throughout a student's college career. So potentially continuing the conversation throughout all the years on the college campus could help here. We also need to make sure that that we are absolutely clear on all of our policies. The consequences for perpetrators need to be made explicitly clear. It needs to be made extremely clear that there is zero tolerance for any sort of sexual harassment or sexual violence. And we need to make sure that victims are provided support as well as justice. It's important to get justice, but the victims have been hurt in this situation, and so they need to be helped as well in the process of getting justice for them. And then we need to make sure that all reports are being taken seriously. And it could be useful to possibly provide an annual survey to students and staff, if that's not already implemented, to gauge the effectiveness of any new programs that are implemented. And these are our sources.